What's up, Nintendo fans? YXBA is back, and I'm ready to mash some more buttons. Today I want to talk about why I'm 34 years old, and it's still okay to be a Nintendo fan. So, a friend of mine recently asked me, why not PlayStation? Why do you like Nintendo so much? Isn't Nintendo targeted towards children? And after my blood stopped boiling, I promised him I would record a video response to his questions. Firstly, while Nintendo is kid-friendly and definitely has games and has products that are appealing to kids, that doesn't make Nintendo kidsy or kiddie. Take a look at sports, for example. We all grew up watching sports, and while maybe there were some movies and some video games we weren't allowed to play, sports is considered to be kid-safe and kid-friendly. And I don't know any adults who are huge sports fans, and I know a lot of them who it bothers that kids also want to watch sports. So just because something is appealing to a younger demographic doesn't mean that it's unappealing as we age and as we get older. Now, one of the rules of thumb when you're writing a book, creating a movie, and I think it also transferred over to video games, is that the demographic that you're targeting that content for should be represented in the age of the starring characters. So, just because Nintendo uses cartoon graphics in a lot of their games isn't really what speaks to the demographic that they're targeting. For example, in the film industry, there's actually some really good hand-drawn animation movies that are targeting specifically towards adults, such as Persepolis. And those familiar with anime would understand immediately that a lot of anime is actually inappropriate for children, despite its cartoony aesthetic. So when you look at Nintendo franchises, I think that the vast majority of the games, while cartoony, still star characters that are adults. Luigi is shown with a mustache and is clearly an adult. Mario is clearly an adult. Samus is clearly an adult. I don't think that you can really claim that Nintendo is targeting children as their only demographic or as their main demographic when the characters that they use are actually adults. So in Nintendo's main games, I feel like they try and target all age demographics and have something for everyone. But there has been cases pretty much on every Nintendo console where they've specifically targeted the 18 plus market with games. On the GameCube, you'll know that they published and used one of their second party developers, Silicon Knights, to create a very dark, a very gory and creepy horror game called Eternal Darkness, and to me that game is an absolute classic if you're a Nintendo fan. Also on the GameCube, they signed an exclusivity deal with Capcom for several releases in the Resident Evil franchise, including possibly the best Resident Evil game of all time, Resident Evil 4. Now, more recently on the Wii U, we've seen Nintendo continue this trend and perhaps double down on it in publishing Devil's Third, which is really, really gory and has, sexual themes in it. And, of course, Bayonetta 2, which stars a female dominatrix character, which is definitely as M-rated as you can get in terms of video game content. And in fact, they actually hired a Playboy model to promote the game and to dress up as Bayonetta. And I think that anyone that says that Nintendo won't put their name or won't put their brand image with an M-rated game simply hasn't been paying attention. And it begs the question, what is wrong with you?
Hi, I'm Reggie from Nintendo of America. What's wrong with you?
But at the end of the day, none of these reasons, none of these arguments that I can come up with to defend myself really matter. That's not really what's at the core of my passion towards Nintendo. The fact is that I fell in love with a certain style of game that Nintendo made when I was a kid, fell in love with a lot of their IPs, and I've just never been let down by the quality of their games and the polish of their games. There's no reason for me to abandon them as long as they're putting out so many great games. And these games are super fun, and they tend to be a little bit more focusing on gameplay mechanics and polish rather than games that are maybe mediocre games that are really dressed up by detailed stories and things that, in my opinion, movies do a lot better job of. So why am I paying $60 for a video game where the only appeal is the story, and a $30 or $20 Blu-ray movie actually does a much better job of telling a story? So I think it's just that the games are really appealing to me as a gamer, someone that appreciates the interactivity of gaming and feels that the interactivity and the gameplay is what the focus should be on, because that's really what the medium of video games is all about. That's what separates it from movies or books. This has been Colin Unger, reminding you to keep your thumbs glued to YXBA, and always remember to select Start. If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe.